Hey guys, so in this video I want to share with you some things that I'm really excited about right now. There are a few of them, so stick with me and we will get to them. So I am here at Karuna. There's something very special going on the table right here. We got Miss Stella in the house. I'll show you that after. But I want to show you somebody who's here with us today. I'm sure a lot of you will know who this is and be so happy to see her. It's Bella. Hi, Bella. Hey, girl. So, many of you guys know Bella. Yes, Stella. Okay. Oh, Stella, you're my number one. You're my number one. What's going on? Okay. You don't live here. You don't. So, many of you guys know Bella. She was the dog, the sweet being that I shared with my former partner, who is actually in the States right now. And Bella is here at Karuna. She's just visiting. She's actually staying up with Cacao Matt. But it's so good to see her. And it's interesting to see the kind of Cocoa Bears, like one of a newer dog. Bella's kind of like one of the OG, the older dogs in the story. And of course Miss Stella over there is, the little superstar. But it's kind of cool to see them overlapping because it's a reminder about time, and it reminds me of that song. It's so amazing how life keeps on changing and how that's manifested in the dogs. Cool dogs. Okay, so things I'm excited about. I'm excited about Bella being here and getting some kisses from Bella. Next thing I'm really excited about. I just went to Love Probiotics on my way here to Karuna. And I was able to borrow a book on vinegar making. And I know this is not something that excites probably 99.9% of the population, but it really excites me. Like this. At last, a really complete, detailed exposition on the art and science of vinegar making. Thanks, dude. It's the Vinegar Man. So this feels like a whole new world. Medical uses of vinegar. Look at this. Ooh, pickling tips. What I liked is going here to the beginning. It's talking about the history of vinegar, which, I don't know, for Jews, Egyptians, Babylonians were the earliest recordings of vinegar, and the Assyrians. So I currently have 3 vinegars going at home. I have an oregano vinegar, an apple vinegar, and a pineapple vinegar brewing. And I picked up some, hey Bella. And I picked up some more apple cider vinegar. And actually this one, she said that this comes from a batch that she forgot about from over a year ago. So this is going to be a really potent brew. And I'm going to use this to make some more fire cider before I go. I'm just really excited about it. And then the other thing I'm excited about is Karuna coffee. So, okay, so let's see. What do we got going on here, Luke? Do you want to explain?
One of the most limited, probably, runs of coffee. You could have a crate of half-pound bags of it. Here.
Ooh.
This we probably drink it all. Is this coffee still?
Can I put... Sharon's asking if I put Bella on camera. There she is. Hi, honey. How is it?
Okay. It is
there any more?
You can make more. We have lots. So, Aviva packed them up for me like this. And I finally came up with a label I'm happy with.
Cool.
This is a Tibetan blessing. And actually, if you can read the Tibetan on the white prayer flags, this is the one that's on the white prayer flag.
Oh, cool.
And then it's a mindful coffee practice.
I like that turn.
To airplane mode. And yeah, it's pretty cool when, having now, I have a piece of land further back in the woods where this coffee comes from. It's definitely organic because I haven't done anything to it in a year. And it produced this beautiful coffee that now I've had a lot of people request coffee, so I'm happy to have a way to put it out in the world. I'm including a librito.
Woohoo! What's librito for people who don't know?
Libritos are little books. It could be anything. So far, we made poetry. This is from my upcoming poetry collection. So it's like the single that comes out before the album. It's about patience, which is good to put with coffee. Coffee can make you impatient.
Say the thing about from the people.
So I wish I didn't remove this, but it says contemplative fuel for the wild world. When you close the envelope, you finish the spelling of world. But initially I had from the people that brought you sitting still for 3 days comes coffee. 3 day silent retreat. So I'll put that on the subsequent ones. It's a bit of an oxymoron, but this thing says that it invites us to actually understand what this is. Like, this is an Ethiopian tree that's now grown in much of Latin America. It's kind of like a meditation that's also, it mixes maybe the format of like a bulleted meditation practice with also narrative, because within this practice you're being asked to behold.
I like how this really is just like guidance for meditation that just uses coffee.
Mm-hmm.
It's nice.
Yeah, it's a way to become mindful coffee practice of what's actually in our hands. And I didn't have enough space on the envelope to get into some of the controversy of it.
You need a bigger
but
envelope.
Maybe I'll do that in future releases of coffee. I'll do a different envelope because it's not so good for the soil. It's not so good for, you have a lot of impoverished people who would probably rather have their land being used for something else, and they've kind of been forced over centuries to tear out their food forest and plant coffee, which only has 2 months a year of a harvest, so they get a lot of money for 2 months. But they actually don't get so much money. I was talking to a woman last night who's interested in authentic labeling, and that spawned this whole conversation, because I was like, I need to actually make a label, and I want it to be like authentic. So I didn't tell the story on here, but coffee is allelopathic for the soil, so it prevents other crops from being grown. To get like a 50-pound bag, what the locals normally get paid for that is like $25, say. If you were to have the means of production to bring that into then toasted, you could sell that 50 pounds for $250. So like, it's often lack of the right industrial equipment and production equipment that causes the locals to have to sell it for 10 times less to then a higher level on the chain. Like, my personal belief is the people that actually grow this, that have the trees growing on their land, that, they should get paid the most in the chain, but they get paid the least. That's how sort of backwards it is. So I wanted to also provide not just a dire story, but solutions. Like, there are some small companies that produce coffee leaf tea. Coffee leaf tea actually has as much caffeine as green tea. You can make tea out of the coffee leaves, and that creates a 360, like the tea leaf itself leads to a 365-day a year harvest from you, if there's a market for this. So you could get into those products. That, I'm not sure how much coffee leaf tea is ultimately going to catch on. I'm interested in trying different combinations of it myself. Maybe putting it through the process that tea leaves go through, because maybe that's never been done to coffee leaves. See what comes out. Also, coffee blossom tea. That's another really delicious product that you can use to have coffee available several other months of the year. So if we can't just solve things, but we can't on our own create a market for something and then a production to meet the market. But there are ways to look at coffee more holistically that enable for a better distribution of funds, so that a very Western and modern compulsion in many cases. I drink a lot of coffee today. That's why I'm not letting anyone talk. But yes, go on. Ask me a question.
I have 3 points.
Great. Lick things while you...
Okay. So one, I was actually reading about this in the fermentation book, about how it's kind of messed up how, like, coffee is a luxury stimulant. So coffee, chocolate, and sugar are these like luxury stimulants. So people in these like now impoverished countries are having to not use their land to grow food for themselves, but instead they're using their land to grow luxury stimulants for people in other countries. So that's part of that, like, honest labeling. Second point.
Authentic labeling.
Authentic labeling. I like that idea. And I like what you're doing with this coffee, I mean, this is coffee that's been here grown at Karuna. And it says on the label that you ask the people what they normally are paid, and then you paid them double. So I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, they use kind of like the hands of productive harvest are generally older people that, maybe can't lift heavy things anymore, but can take the berries, or they're younger kids, or they're women. So they were getting paid as much as like a adult stonemason man, and I like that. Very rarely do you ask someone would you like to get paid, and then they give you a number, and then you say I'm going to double that number. So for me, like I don't really, I like having a lot of coffee, like I like having a lot of tea, and just like commodities around, and I wasn't like thinking, I want to go into the coffee business, but for me it's great. I can get these higher than normal wages covered. I can earn a few $100s myself, get the label and the story of coffee, and in this batch it's just a mindful meditation, which also has a story in it of the coffee, like think of the Mayan families and smile. For this production, each was asked what they were usually paid to harvest coffee beans, and were paid double. And they were happy about that. In this cup of tree, in this cup of livelihood, warming your hands. Bring the cup to your nose and take an aromatic inhale. Do you smell the petrichor earth that surrounded the roots during the rains? Can you hear the hop? Hop is the Mayan word for rain, which is also kind of like an onomatopoeia, maybe, because it's like hop, 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 hop.
Well, you can't tell them the whole thing. So that's my third point. Is some people are asking, they're like, "Wait, are you selling this? How do I get this?" Even Elizabeth Sparks, she wants to order some.
I'm figuring it out. The most rustic way I would do it would be to carry it myself to the States and sell it like we sell the Libritos. People pay me on Venmo or PayPal with an address, and then I send it. So we'll only have 50. There was only 54 of these, so I imagine it'll sell out pretty quick. Or I'm going to see if Matt is able to bring it to the Holy Wow, send it up with the Holy Wow shipment, and make this limited run available. So I don't know how exactly it's possible yet, but I can certainly, I will post soon when I know.
Yeah, and the people who are already following you and already connected to your page, you'll tell them.
Let's go meet the coffee tree.
Oh, we're going to go meet the coffee tree.
So one thing I actually wanted to show you was on your land. I know you took a lot of coffee trees out. And I'm like, well, hold on. You can never put them back. This was all coffee farm. So I've taken out a lot of coffee trees, but I haven't taken out all of them.
And actually, I'll say this. So when we were doing that work, starting my land, Luke came with me once to visit the land, and he said something about keeping some of the coffee trees, and it's like, oh yeah. And so I then went through the land and I started marking trees, some of the older ones and just ones that I liked. And so now, thanks to Luke's counsel, we still have coffee trees on my land. And you're right that you can never put them back, but they are also still growing back from when they were chopped. They're still growing. They're not dead.
That's a method to get old trees to have new life.
Yeah, and that's, sometimes that's one thing to understand about plants is just because you chop a plant, it's not necessarily a bad thing. That can actually revitalize its life. It can cause it to grow back stronger and more, with more velocity than it had before. So to encourage growth, sometimes you cut something back. So, oh, Corey, you like my necklace? This was from Roger. Roger gave me this.
There's probably a dozen coffee trees, so this is the coffee tree. These are the young leaves that we can even make a tea out of, and you can see how we feel about that. These are the fruits. So, it's nice, actually, to have coffee fruit around, but delicious fruit.
Hey, Tammy. Yeah, of course. You guys want to try?
And then we have, a source of coffee leaf tea. So, all throughout here, I would say there's probably about 20 coffee trees left.
20.
Yeah, this is, you probably brought this here. This is flowering. It's an
Hey! Nice. Look at these babies.
And then, the young coffee leaves, see the lighter ones? Mm-hmm. Those are going to have less tannins, so let's heat up some water.
Great.
Make a tea, and see what we think about it.
Careful, Miss Bella. Behold, the largest dog drinking bowl. Nice. Hi, Michelle. Emma. Ho. Emma.
So this feels good to get out of the way. It's been a week of, we got the poetry book released. We made noise about that. This is now just ready for an address and a distribution method.
Nice. Good job.
Yeah. These are slated to go in the ground now in Andyland.
I thought you were saying these are slaves. Do you want to show them the new Andyland, or do you want to wrap it up?
We can wrap it up.
Okay.
I actually want to wait for hot water doesn't take too long. Coffee leaves too.
I think we'll just continue. So, a lot of things to be really excited about. Miss Bella being here. My new vinegar book. Coffee. And the Karuna coffee. And, you know, it's interesting to figure out this idea of, like, how can we make stuff here locally and then send it back to the States? Ooh, you know what I'm also excited about? Blackberries. Look at that. Ooh. Oh, that's good. Look at that. Mmm. Melissa, yeah, that was a banana. Hi, Alexis. Jane, I know. Ooh. It was really tangy. Hi. Hi, Miss Bella. I like your collar. Okay, Jane, I know. What vinegar book? This was one of the first things I opened in this video. So I stopped by Love Probiotics, which is our local fermentation center where we get our kombucha and sauerkraut, and you can get bread there. And I got another nice gallon of apple cider vinegar, which I'm going to use to make some more fire cider before I go to the States. And I also borrowed this book by the Vinegar Man. The Vinegar Man invites me to the International Vinegar Museum. I think I might go. And which is what's so great about this book. Let's look at I like this on the first page. Literally, first page. Amazing. The only way to improve a good wine is to make a great vinegar. It's so clever. So here's it. The cultural history of vinegar, the legal history, production history, making vinegar, understanding the process, and let's see, general uses. Ooh, pop and superstition. Whoa. Vinegar trivia, including how vinegar is said in many languages from Arabic to Zulu. I mean, come on, guys. Medicinal uses for humans and animals. That's interesting. Yeah, nice. So, I'm currently making 3 vinegars at home. An apple vinegar, a pineapple vinegar, and an oregano vinegar. And apparently, to make fire cider, you can use any vinegar. So when I get those done, I can make my own custom fire cider. Alright. Nice. Okay, guys, we're going to wrap up this video and get back to packing these little envelopes. If you're already on Luke's page, I'm sure you can find out more information there. And I love you guys very much. Thanks for being with me. And what are you excited about? What is the thing that gets you giddy like a little child, that even if it makes other people roll their eyes because they don't get it? What's that thing for you? Go ahead. Get excited. Alright. Love you guys.